Hello, and welcome to Law Talk. My name is John Celebrezze, and I'm the co-founder of the Celebrezze-Zangi Community Legal Education Project, as we call it, CZ-CLEP for short. Our organization provides continuing education about the judiciary and legislature to attorneys, judges, government officials, and the general public. As a career educator, I recognize early on how important legal matters are and how they impact our lives. I am the nephew of the late Attorney J. Celebrezze, who was the popular 5-term mayor of Cleveland and a member of President Kennedy's cabinets. As a tribute to his lifetime commitment to the legal process, we dedicate this show. Our guest today is Ken Marco. Ken is the managing partner of the Medina law firm of Marco, and Bailey. He's the youngest son of the firm's founder, Richard Marco. Ken did his undergraduate work in the area of criminal justice at the University of Akron, and later earned his Juris Doctorate from Cleveland Marshall School of Law. He's been practicing in Medina County for 19 years. Ken is also admitted to practice before the United States District Court, Northern District of Ohio. Albeit Marco and Bailey lawyers handle a wide variety of both civil and criminal matters, Ken specializes in the firm's probate matters. Welcome, Ken.
Thank you, John.
Well, thanks for coming. We're going to talk in a little bit, Ken, about probate, and albeit we've had a lot of lawyers and judges on the show, talked about a lot of other things. I think this is one of those areas of law that a lot of people don't know too much about. Would you agree, or?
Yeah, I think so. I think the majority of people that come into my office that have probate questions, first they come in, they might want to talk about, setting up wills or trusts or things that they've seen on TV. But a lot of times they're coming in because, somebody in their family died.
I see.
Whether it's their husband, their wife, or a family member. They come in and they really have no clue where to start.
Sure.
And a lot of that has to do with, the loss that they just had.
Sure. Ken, the word, I mean, we have to start somewhere, and to the lay person, frankly, I don't know if he knows what this means, but what does the word probate mean?
Well, usually in the context, if you're talking about, the legal context, it's usually the process in which you, after somebody passes away, that somebody gathers a person's probate assets, keeps those assets safe, and eventually inventories and distributes those assets to the beneficiaries.
So it's kind of a general term, and it happens on the passing of somebody. When you say you're going to probate a will?
A probate a will, a probate estate. It's general. It's a legal term. I don't know if there's any specific definition for what probate is, but it's more of a way of distributing assets, handling a person's estate.
Here in the county, Ken, I've had a lot of the judges on, but I've never had Judge Lone on per se. But is he the judge that oversees probate matters at the court?
Yes, he oversees all the probate matters at the court. And probate can also, the probate court also handles other things besides administering people's estates. They also establish guardianships for either a minor or incompetent.
I see.
He also handles, if there is will contests or anything that has to do with the administration of an estate, marriage licenses. I mean, there's a lot of things that happen.
Sure.
In the probate court.
So probate is actually a division of the common pleas court?
Yes.
I see. And so he's a judge that you oftentimes practiced before?
Oftentimes you go in front of Judge Lone. Plus he has magistrates. I mean, there's it's a pretty broad area. It's a lot for one judge to take care of, especially in a county of our size.
Sure.
So that he has magistrates that also help him through get you through the probate process.
Do you you mentioned guardianships. I mean, do you personally do that type of work as well? If
a lot of times if the court needs to have somebody become a guardian for a person, either because of they've deemed to be incompetent, which is actually a legal term, just because somebody can't handle their affairs or is unable to handle their affairs, the court has to determine that they're not able to handle their affairs and will appoint a guardian that basically steps in the place of the person and can handle either their finances, making sure the money goes where it's supposed to go, or even has to make personal decisions for that person. They actually step into that person's shoes and technically become that person.
Wow. So that's something you've been known to do in your professional life as well?
I've had a few guardianships. It's a very big responsibility.
I could see so. I mean, having taken care of my own parents in their later years, to step into somebody's shoes and make those type of decisions. But, well, very much appreciate that. So this is all part of the world of probate, of things you deal with. The word will, I mean, I think every day we throw that word out, you know, do you have a will, or I'll leave you in my will, or something about a will. We see it on the television, but that too is actually a legal instrument, isn't it, Ken?
Yes, the statute requires certain things to be done inside a will, or certain requirements of how the will is signed in order to create the legal document that can be probated as the person's last document, really telling the world where they want their assets to go, and also who they want to take on the responsibility of gathering those assets and making sure that those assets go to where they want them to go.
So when you write a will, and you do write wills pretty often,
we write quite a few wills.
Yeah, I figured you do, as busy as that place normally is. But I guess you're trying to glean from the person while he's alive, and that's a pretty important document when he's gone, because he can't speak anymore, just exactly where his stuff and his assets and what happens. Is that correct?
Yeah, and it can get quite confusing. A lot of times somebody will come in the first time and we'll talk to them about where they want their assets to go. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is there's a lot of what ifs. Leave everything to your spouse. Well, what if she passes away first? Right. I want to leave everything to my children. Well, what happens if one of your children passes away before you do? And most people don't think that way. Sure. Most people expect that, you know, they will die before their children will die. Where do you want those assets to go? Do you want them to go to that person's spouse? Do you want them those assets to go to their children? Do you want those assets to go back to the remaining beneficiary? So there is a lot of what-if situations. So sometimes, you know, we talk about it, tell people to write down what their assets are, where they want them to go. And a will can be as specific as somebody wants, or it can be fairly general, like I want all my assets to go to, you know. So it sounds like,
Ken, I mean, here's where I think lawyers get the name, rightfully so, consular, of sitting down with somebody and calling these things to their attention, you know, the what ifs, as you call them. And I guess it would then make perfect sense that if something as important as this, rather than go to your local office supply store where sometimes they'll say you could buy one of these things pre-made, that probably won't get the job done as well as somebody sitting down with you. And
well, I mean, I think those documents do have their place for some people, but most of the time they don't go deep enough into what a person really wants, or makes a person think about where they want their assets to go. There's a lot of scenarios that that most people don't think about when they're drawing up their will.
Sure.
One thing is if their children pass away, or somebody passes away, if they want their children to get those shares, well, if those children are under 18 years of age, do they want somebody to be in charge of that money until that their grandchild becomes to be a certain age, and what age is that? Mm-hmm. And everybody's situation is different. I mean, if they have kids, I mean, you have children, you know, occasionally you'll have one